Welcome back to Coast Sports. Today, we're talking football. We're talking the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots 1 week after the Super Bowl. I've been thinking a lot about what this game means for the NFL because it's already feeling like this year's Super Bowl has been less talked about, less celebrated, less media coverage than a lot of the previous Super Bowls. And my question is why? Why is the media acting like this Super Bowl didn't matter? Why is the media acting like this Super Bowl wasn't as important? And I think I know the answer. Unfortunately, the league is simply too quarterback and too star quarterback centric. The league loves making big stars out of people, and it's very similar to the NBA in that way. So when Mahomes wins the Super Bowl, it's a big deal. When Jalen Hurts wins the Super Bowl, it's a big deal. When Brady wins the Super Bowl, it's a big deal. When Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl, nobody really cares. The media would love to have a Lamar or a Josh Allen or even a Stafford at this point. The media wants the stars to be winning their big games, and Sam Darnold is not perceived as a big superstar. Now, whether or not he is another question. Sam Darnold has only lost 7 games in the past 2 seasons. He's 31-7 in the past 2 seasons. In fact, he is 35-10 in his last 45 starts. 35-10. 31-7 in the past 2 years. 17-3 in his last 20 games. How can you say he's not a big-name superstar? But that's what the media perceives. The media doesn't see Sam Darnold as a guy who literally barely ever loses football games. That's not what his perception is. The media perceives him as a player who is pretty good. And he's a cool story. But the media is not interested, the sports media is not interested in cool stories. They're interested in big-name superstars. And Sam doesn't want to be that. Sam's very humble. He understands he's not a flashy big-name player. He doesn't want to be a flashy big-name player. But because of that, his Super Bowl is being completely disregarded. I've never seen this happen before since the last time there was a Super Bowl where it felt like nobody really cared about the winners was the Rams when they beat the Bengals. For a similar reason, because Matthew Stafford, for everything he had done in his career, he was not a big-name, flashy superstar. When the Chiefs are winning, everybody is invested, everybody cares, and everybody talks about it for weeks and weeks. It feels like they've already forgotten. I mean, they're already moving on to the draft, they're moving on to next year, and it just seems like they've forgotten so quickly that the Seahawks pulled off one of the most dominant seasons of all time and finished the job by beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares. I think it's interesting, and I think it's something that needs to change about sports media. The Patriots and the Seahawks deserved this coverage. They deserve to have their moment, and I think they kind of didn't get that, which is kind of sad.